Does a lot of offense exist in the majors right now with the way things are going? With some teams we've talked about, perhaps, but a lot of offense has been signed, at least that's what we think so far. Position players and hitters have been at a premium, and they've been at the forefront of the signing so far. Sandoval and Ramirez with the Red Sox, Martin with Toronto, Cruz and Martinez, and then as Jack has mentioned, the Blue Jays also swing a deal for Donaldson, another big bat. So just kind of a brief question about the offense. Are you surprised that really no pitchers have signed yet?
I'm not totally surprised because one of the guys out there is Scherzer, and we know he's going to take a lot of time. As far as the offense goes, though, Bob, I think teams were starved for offense around baseball. You look at that list right there and look at all the position players that are off the market, and for numbers that I think probably we all at this panel think might be a little more inflated than we were expecting. I look at the Red Sox with Sandoval and Ramirez. I think for right now and for 2015, they're a better team. But you look at those contracts a couple of years from now, and who will Sandoval be? Will he get himself into a position where he's more out of shape? Who will Ramirez be? He's been an injured guy. But for right now, in the search for offense, the Red Sox wanted those two players badly.
Yeah, and look at where all those hitters signed in the American League, you know, except for Tomas, but this is his first contract, and he's much younger. So that's an interesting thing, too. All these guys hold out the possibility of playing DH, sometimes full-time, in Victor's case. So the American League team's getting all these guys because these free agents now are in their 30s, not Pablo, but the rest of them, and they want that DH to be in place. So the National League teams are going to probably start playing on these pitchers because they got money to burn, too. All
right, so you already mentioned Scherzer, Lester, who am I missing here? Shields, probably the top three that we think are going to go. Chad, it kind of feels like, though, everything we're hearing about Lester, maybe he's the closest to an agreement?
I would think so. Now, during the commercial break, my father texted me and said he thinks the Cardinals are going to get Scherzer. So apparently that's the word around the Applebee's in Sikeston, Missouri.
You're giving up your sources so easily.
It's amazing, huh? But yeah, we all know just based on whose agent Scherzer's probably going to wait a while. And so right now, that's why you're seeing all this attention on Lester. And look, he's an interesting piece. I mean, this guy has proven in not only that he can pitch in the regular season and be good, but I mean, this guy has postseason experience. He's pitched well. This guy's a high commodity who doesn't come with a draft pick attached to him. I mean, there's a lot to like about this guy. It's the reason that he's kind of the name that's getting the most buzz right now.
Yeah, and you look at Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer is probably the best in the market after Lester. Lester's obviously the most accomplished. Scherzer's a little bit younger. But you talked about the Cardinals and Scherzer. I look at Scott Boras and the teams he has dealt with in the past. Scott goes right to the ownership level to, he usually bypasses the general manager with one of his big guys. And he has a great relationship with the Washington Nationals, a great relationship with the Texas Rangers, and a great relationship with the Detroit Tigers. So now the Tigers already offered Scherzer a big amount of money, $144 million. He turned it down to gamble on free agency. It looks like that's going to pay off for him. And Texas probably isn't too happy with the Shin-Soo Choo deal last year and their first year of Fielder, the contract they got from Detroit. So some of these teams, have some Scott Boras contracts that haven't worked out so well. But Scott has a really good relationship with those owners, meaning that he gets them to give him what he wants. And I could see a scenario where one of those teams, plays on Scherzer, maybe even Washington if they flip Jordan Zimmerman or just keep Zimmerman to have a super rotation for 1 year.
Yeah, I thought when the Cubs came out with 6 for $138 for Lester, I remember saying this on the show the other day, he's probably going to end up in Chicago. But now we're hearing that there are other teams involved, maybe the Dodgers, maybe the Angels, so those numbers start to get a little higher. That graphic that we just showed, some interesting numbers when you look at the number of pitches that were thrown. And Scherzer, of course, is at a low number. And I think Joel Sherman used this phrase from Boras, pitching odometer. So you know when Scott Boras is in the meetings with those executives or ownership, he is going to focus on that number. He's going to say, there's less tread on the tires with my guy. Look at this. Look at the number of pitches fewer that he has thrown than the other two guys.
Right, but look at that also, innings pitched per start, and Scherzer's the lowest of those three. I know Shields has more pitches, more on the odometer, so does Lester. But if I'm paying that much money for a pitcher, I want him to be both dominant and durable. I love Max Scherzer. He's great as far as he goes. He's still not the most durable kind of guy within the games. It feels like he's going to give you 7 great innings, but then he's going to turn it over to that bullpen. Sometimes in Detroit, that didn't always work out. We saw in the Boston series in 2013. So, and again, great pitcher. he would help any staff. But if I'm going to pay the guy what I think will end up probably as the highest right-handed pitcher contract in baseball history, I got to believe, no one's told me that, but I got to believe just knowing how these things work, that that's the number he may be shooting for. I want a guy who's going to go 9 innings a little bit more often.
Well, that's what you want. But how often do these teams get what they want on the free agent market? I mean, these guys hit the market, and they're always flawed in some way or another. And the longer this stuff waits out, I mean, we talk about that Boris likes to wait and sells the guy. He sells them. I mean, he does. Teams are going to pay for this. These are front-of-the-rotation guys. And as much as offense is down, and we're talking about it's easier to find pitching right now, these are two aces that are on the market right now. Someone's going to pay for it. Yeah. And the longer this market holds out, the more and more there are going to be other teams that sort of can slide in and can convince themselves that this is a worthwhile investment.